Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. I rise to talk about this MPI because it is a very important matter, and I want to just pose this question. What does the Minister for Water Resources in Northern Australia, what does he have in common with the member for Nichols, the member for Swan, the Minister for Aged Care, Sport and Youth, myself, the member for Fairfax? We've all done trades. How many of those opposite have done a trade? One, maybe two. The Labor Party used to be the party for the worker. Now they've all university educated or union activists. So they are a very, very far cry from the Labor Party of days gone by. And it's really sad to sit here and listen to them time after time after time talk about things they believe, those opposite believe if you say an untruth long enough and often enough, it becomes a fact. And that's very sad because we all know that with TAFE, the Commonwealth Government is not responsible for funding TAFE colleges. That is the purview of the states and territories. If you have a problem with the funding of TAFE colleges, talk to your state governments. But notwithstanding the fact that TAFE colleges are fully administered by states and territories, the federal government does provide some funding, some $1.5 billion in funding every year to help with vocational education and training, including TAFEs. Now, I was TAFE educated. I went to Holmes Glen College of TAFE in Chadstone in Victoria. In Higgins, great TAFE college. I'm a big believer in TAFE colleges. They do a great job, as did mine when I did mine. But there is a real problem with funding when it comes to TAFE, and that is that there is no accountability for the $1.5 billion that the federal government gives to the states. And that's something that the Prime Minister alerted in his recent press conference, so I pressed it to the press club the other day, that there needs to be a shift in how we fund the vocational education and training sector. So for all of the talk of those opposite, when they keep talking about cuts, for those listening to this, there has been no cuts to TAFE by the federal government. There has been no cuts by the federal government to universities. Talking about university funding. Now, university funding is at record high. The Commonwealth Government expenditure, estimated to be more than $18 billion in 2020, will be increasing to $19 billion in 2023. OK, now $18 billion in 2020 to $19 billion in 2023. Now, the Minister for Water Resources has got an engineering degree. I've only got a law degree. Is that an increase or a decrease? I am. I've got both. I'm lucky. I did both. And just like the Minister for Water Resources— Order. Just like the
members on my left, as much and all as the member for Fisher is being a little bit antagonistic, directing his comments directly to you, I would ask that you don't interject as much, and the member for Fisher, if you could address the chair with your comments, that'd be good.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Chair, and I addressed you directly that those opposite talk about cuts to the university sector and the TAFE sector, and they are simply not correct. They believe that if they keep saying them often enough and long enough, it will become fact, but that does not make it so. And they often talk about the decrease in apprentices. Now, when they were last in government, they oversaw 110,000 apprentice losses in just 12 months. 110,000 apprentices were lost. No one takes any joy in that whatsoever.